When you see me, well, not when you see me, more like when you see me on paper. What do you see? Well, you see a business owner and consultant of 20 years with a portfolio of companies that does an annual revenue of about $8 million, with a personal net worth that is 7 figures, who also obtained a master's in business administration, right? So that's what you see when you see me. So let's shift our gaze and let's imagine 22-year-old Uber Eats driver who has opted to not go on to a secondary education. What do you see then? How much do you think that we have in common? Well, it may come as a total shock to you. We have everything in common when it comes to being able to leverage the out of the Schedule C. That's right. Me, successful business owner of 20 years with multiple businesses with millions and millions and millions of dollars in revenue, is the exact same, is treated the exact same as the Uber Eats driver with a 1099. We can both leverage the same rules in the IRC. Wild, right? Crazy, right? And no, the Uber Eats driver doesn't even have to do a business formation and get an LLC or start treating him or herself as an S Corp to avoid those scary self-employment taxes. No, you see, there is so much to learn and so much to get excited about when it comes to being an independent contractor, a sole proprietor, a single member LLC. Really and truly, but you'll never know until you really get into the details of your business operations. And I want to give you some additional exciting news. You don't even necessarily have to start then, because at an early age, before you're even out in the world, and let's say you're still in school or you're still a W-2 employee, you can be the CEO of your household and start to treat your home and view all of the operations and the financial decisions the way you would if you were running a business. The way you get good at understanding this is not, let me repeat, not by going to your CPA or accountant once a year with a file and handing it to them in January. That is not going to set you up for success. That is not going to give you the knowledge you need to be able to master this. And another reason why you should be super excited about mastering it is there are 2 things in life that we cannot avoid: death and taxes. So you see why I am so passionate about this subject, because this subject is never going to go away. Let me repeat, it is never going to go away. Whether you are an employee, a business owner, a spouse, you will always be affected by taxes. So let's take a moment to truly master it. And again, this is not something that you're going to be able to master by taking a course. You're going to get great at it by looking at what you do every single day, keep the records, and match it up to financial statements, and then take those financial statements and match it up to your tax returns. And after you do that process for about 2 or 3 years, side by side, laying it all out, understanding every line, reading every line. Well, let me illustrate my point, because I want you to get excited about this. This is a Schedule C. You see that it says profit and loss for business. You see that it has lots of other information. you see that it talks about expenses, advertising, car and truck, commissions and fees, depreciation, insurance, interest, legal and professional services. So when you hear all those fancy terms that everybody talks about deductions and write-offs, this is what they're talking about. But isn't it so much cooler to see it versus just this abstract thought of, oh, if you're in a business, you can write stuff off. You can have deductions, right? Because everybody I know, after all of that started to go viral on social media, was hitting me up asking me about the goddamn G-Wagons, okay? Well, first and foremost, you can't put a G-Wagon here and you can't depreciate it here if you ain't got nothing here, okay? Line number one, gross receipts or sales, income. You have to have income to be able to have write-offs. You get me? Yes, and there are plenty people in the financial world that will allow you to have very little on line one and a whole lot here and then run you at a negative down here, okay? Not best practices. I don't recommend it. Yes, there are cases when businesses do operate at losses, but when you're doing it intentionally, without some forward thinking as to what the strategy is going to be long-term, you're just opening yourself up for an audit. So, best practices is to always operate reasonably and to always only present expenses that are necessary and reasonable to your industry. Sidebar, all of this is Googleable. And on top of it, it's all actually very generous. And I look forward to presenting all of those types of details to you based on each industry because your mind is gonna be blown. But once you understand these nuances, once you understand this form, the Schedule C, this form, okay? You are going to be able to take that knowledge of how it works to the next level. Please note something else that I want you to get uber excited about. You can still be an employee and have a W-2. And then as a side gig, you can, if you are in fact making sales and have income, put all of those details on your Schedule C surrounding your business. And one has nothing to do with the other. So you get all of the advantages from operating a legitimate business, not a hobby. And then you get all of the advantages of being a W-2 employee for those particular wages. And then on top of that, you still can leverage on the personal side your standard or itemized deductions. So each and every form within a tax return serves a unique purpose, custom to you. There is nobody like you. There is no tax return like yours. There is not an identical tax return to yours in the entire US. You are unique. So that is why it's important that you start treating your operations as such, so you can customize it to set yourself up for success within the framework of the Internal Revenue Code. It's very powerful, it's very exciting, and I truly, truly invite you and welcome you to continue listening to these types of educational videos to start planting the seeds, to let you know that it's okay to be curious, that it's okay to ask questions, that it's okay to be powerful and make boss-ass moves even if you are just an Uber Eats driver. You still get to leverage the same things as all of the millionaires and billionaires in the world. So yes, harness this information and dive into it with a childlike curiosity and master it, because it will be let me repeat, outside of health, okay, and self-care, it will be one of the best decisions you have ever made in your life.